guys, welcome back to another edition of the Independent Sponsor Update. Bob Frisch here with Frisch Capital. Again, excited to be on the show again today, guys. We're here to talk today about control because, we hear this a lot. Independent sponsors say at the end of the day when they're talking about who they want from a capital perspective, they say, I've got to have control. It's my deal. I've got to have control. I'm the one. And it's absolutely right in the sense that you've been the one that's gotten it to where you are. But I really think that control in independent sponsor deals is the most misunderstood or misused word that we see kind of in the industry as it relates to independent sponsor deals. Because many times people are thinking about it from an LPGP perspective, which is not really language we think fits the independent sponsor model most of the time.
Correct.
Because there's two ways you can finance the deal. One, you can get a lot, you can syndicate it out to a lot of different capital providers or individuals, and you might have 20 or 30 people or 10 or 50 or whatever it is. And then, so there's nobody that really has a significant amount, so you might technically have control over the day-to-day in that situation. The other way is which I think is more where we lean at Frisch Capital, where we're trying to get one or two key capital providers in there because we think it drives simplicity and they could also be really good partners. And so one of the things that we talk about a lot is not who has control, but really what's the partnership that you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, that from our perspective, at least the way we talk about it, is the most important, really understanding what's the type of partner that you want. Not really this idea of control, who has to have control, because the partnership's going to be how do we work together from the board level to execute on the thesis so that we all win on the backside.
Right.
Because that's really where everybody wins.
And the word control sometimes might be misused here. If we deal with capital providers, we're not trying, at Frisch Capital, we're not trying to herd cats. We're not dealing with a lot of individuals, or really hardly any individuals. We're dealing with institutions, as I said, family offices, PE shops, funds of some sort, where they've got money and they're putting it into transactions. They have a responsibility, fiduciary responsibility, to the large institutions, whether it be Harvard or the New York State Thruway Authority, that have put money with them to put into our transactions. As a result, they have a certain amount of responsibility to their people, whatever institutions have invested with them. They literally have to have certain things. If things go really poorly, they've got to be able to step in there and protect their large investment. We're dealing with independent sponsors that, as a general rule, almost every time are not putting in very much capital at all. Matter of fact, a minuscule amount relative to the large equity that has been provided to get their deal done. So as a result, there are certain things that these other institutions, these PE shops or family offices have to have, but it's not control. It's just if things really go badly, we need to be able to step in there and protect our 20 million, 30 million, 5 million, 10 million, whatever the amount of dollars is, we need to be able to protect it. However, when it comes to the independent sponsor, they really want them. They're investing in them. We just did a deal. Where they said the capital provider, a large amount of money we wouldn't be doing this deal if it wasn't for the independent sponsor and their expertise.
Absolutely.
And execution. So
Absolutely.
There's a huge misnomer about the word control.
Yeah,
right.
and it really, as we look at it, it's how do we work together? And if you look at the value the independent sponsors bring in, that expertise, to your point, and we've talked about it in one of our other videos where we really talk about what's the value you're bringing to the table.
Right.
And that's why capital providers, whether it's a family office or an institution, whoever it is, they want to do deals with independent sponsors. It's a huge selling point. Now, but we get it from the independent sponsor's perspective. You've taken the time as an independent sponsor to put the deal together, to work with the seller, to negotiate and foster this relationship. A lot of times you've got a track record in an industry or an expertise where you've done this before. You know what to do and you know how to execute on it. And the big concern that we hear from our clients as the independent sponsors is they don't want to be kicked out of the way on day two. But I want to be very clear. That's not going to happen 9.9 times out of 10 unless things go really sideways. And so again, it's that idea of it's not about control, but it's about the partnership. And it's about
Absolutely.
communicating. How are we going to work together?
And both sides understanding that make a really nice partnership. You got the capital, you got the expertise, you have the independent sponsor that's overseeing management, maybe part of management if they go in to a C-suite position, and the capital providers really like that. I mean, the independent sponsor is on the board, they're with them, so trying to figure out how to make this thing really sing and make the company hum, for lack of a better word.
Absolutely. So to kind of summarize this conversation, control we feel like is a really misunderstood word, and in a lot of ways doesn't really fit in the context of independent sponsor deals. What we focus on at Frisch Capital is really understanding the partnership. How are you going to work together with the capital provider, and what type of capital provider are you interested in? What type of partner? And again, there's a wide spectrum there, but really understanding that is a really important part of the conversation.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got another video that we're putting together that really is going to talk about how to work with somebody that's really traditionally a control investor, like a private equity fund or something like that. So check out that other video. It's going to have some details of the nuance of how to work with groups like that, and then maybe how to reframe, how to think about working with them, because they can make great partners, kind of counter to a lot of people's belief system.
Sure.
All right. Well, great. Thanks again for watching another episode of the Independent Sponsor Update. Feel free to check out our other videos, hit subscribe down below, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, dude.
Appreciate it.